Hello and welcome. This is the second part of my playthrough of the Battle of Gołymin from the Preussich Eylau 1807 from the Napoleon series by Tis. In the part 1 we played first 3 turns of the battle and now I'm going to continue the play. French units are attacking Gołymin from all directions, but their first attacks were already repulsed by Russians. I wonder how long it will take, because French army has definitely a numerical advantage, but Russians have pretty good defensive positions, and French infantry might need some time to reach the town, and that's where the problems start, because this is turn 4 and starting with turn 5 we are going to have a knight, and knight halves attacker's strength and units move, so French options will be limited. So this is going to be the last daily turn. Let's make an initiative roll for French. Oh, and Russians. So French has initiative again. Now let's check for the command. French cavalry, they all in command. French division here, 2 hexes. Yeah, they are in command. This unit is also in command, and here all these French units are in command, so that's fine. And now Russians. All these Russian units are in command. This one is not, because this commander has 2 hexes range and they are out of command. Same goes to them, and they are in command. Oh, and this Russian cavalry, they are all out of command. That's bad. They haven't their own commander, so they should be marked as out of command. Now, when we know who is in command and who is not, let's check for reorganization, because we have a couple of units that are disorganized. French units first. This cavalry is disorganized. 9, so they remain disorganized because their morale is 8. Okay, and who else? They are fine. They are fine. They are disorganized, but well, they are adjacent to the enemy unit, so they cannot be reorganized. So that's all. And now Russians. First, this cavalry. They are back to normal. All the others are fine, I believe. Yes. And now Russians. First, these Cossacks. 5, they are back to normal. This infantry, 7, they are back to normal. Okay, so that's all. Now French artillery, we have 1 French artillery unit here. They haven't anyone in their range, so no artillery fire. And now let's go to the French movement phase. So what I'm going to do is use my infantry, my cavalry here, to try to attack this Russian infantry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh no, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, and now I declare charge. 5, 6. Russian unit might try to form a square, but they are out of command. And due to this fact, they have -1 for the rolls to create a square. 10, sorry, plus 1. So it's 11. So no, they failed to create a square. And let me check if they failed to create a square. Yeah, they cannot. So that's fine. And now I can resolve this charge. So they cannot fire because they tried to create a square. So they cannot make a line and fire. And now let's check for the charge result. Now this cavalry unit has a strength of 5. So they have their strength tripled to 15. And this infantry has a strength of 10, I think. Yeah. So it is 15 versus 10. So it's plus 1 because of the odds. We have 1 to half to 1. Next, we have plus 2 because of the 5 points of cavalry charging. So this is plus 3. Let's make a roll. Ooh, it's 5. So both sides perform their morale checks. French, they passed. Russians, they failed. And now let's check for the losses. French unit had 15 and 6 in the 15. This is 2. And now French losses. Russians had 10 and 7 in 10, also 2. And they lose the charge marker because they cannot charge anymore. So that would be all for this charge. It wasn't very successful. Let's make it straight. Now this cavalry unit leaves this hex. They don't want to attack anymore. This cavalry remains here, and this one will go there to get reorganized. Now this cavalry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, they capture this hex, and 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is horse artillery. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That will be all here. They will remain in their squares. And now we got reinforcements of the French heavy cavalry division. 1, 2, 2, and they are charging with their commander. They are charging here. And 1, 2, 3, they are charging there. So we have 3 charges to resolve. Now let's start here. The France has a strength of 6 and 3 times, so it's 18, versus Bibikov, who has a strength of 3. So this is 6 to 1, so it will be 4 to 1. Next we have plus 2, because we are attacking them from behind, so it is already plus 6, and we have heavy cavalry, and we got additional plus 1. So this is total of plus 7. Let's make a roll, and it is 12. So Russian unit is disorganized. It has to undergo a morale check. They passed, and they have to retreat 1 hex. So French unit performs pursue. And now let's check for losses. French unit had 18 and 10. This is 5 points. So this Russian cavalry unit is eliminated. Let me check. Yeah, they are done. And let's roll for French losses. 5, no losses. Next, here. Lahuyas had 6, so they have 18, versus Chaplitz, who has 3. So the same situation as before, but there is also additional +1 because of the commander. So this is now +8 and 13. So a Russian unit is disorganized. It has to retreat 1 hex, and it can only retreat here. Now they have to undergo morale check. They failed, and because they were already disorganized, they are eliminated. So they are done. And let's roll for French losses only. 6 in the 3-4, no losses for French units. So they perform pursuit. And now this cavalry, Saint-Germain, they have also 6 versus 1, because this is artillery. So this is 6 to 1, so +4, and +2 because of the attacking from behind, so it's +6, and +1 because of 6 points of heavy cavalry. So it is +7. And 4, 11. So this artillery is disorganized, undergoes morale check, it passed, but it has to retreat. And now, oh, I forgot about making disorganization rolls for them, but let's make a roll for them first. They failed, so they cannot pursue. So this artillery can actually stay on this hex, otherwise it will be eliminated. Because if artillery is forced to retreat and enemy unit performs a pursuit, then artillery is eliminated. But they weren't eliminated because of that, because this unit was disorganized, so it isn't able to perform a pursuit. Okay, so now let's check for losses. They have 18 and 5. These are 2 points. And Russians had 1, 9, 1 loss for French cavalry. Now, I forgot to make disorganization rolls for this unit, so let's make it now. 9. They are disorganized, and now them 5, they are fine. And this artillery remains out of command. So that would be all for this charge. I think it was quite effective. 2 more Russian cavalry units were eliminated. So we have to resolve French attacks now. I am going to make 1 here, and since this Russian artillery wasn't firing before in this turn, it can fire now. Ooh, total loss. And now this Russian infantry fires twice at French units, 8 and 9. And this one has Shchebatov, 10. So these are 3 losses and morale check for French units. So morale check, they passed. Commander loss, he is alive. And now 3 losses. French unit fires once, 8. They have -2 because of the woods, so it's 6. And their strength was 5. Oh hell, so they missed, and they have only 2 points left. Oh my. I feel sorry for them. So, do they want to attack? Well, they declared that they want to attack, so yes, they have to attack. So they have 2 versus 10. So it's 1 to 5, so it's -4, -2 because of the woods, so it's -6, and +1 because of their commander. So it's -5 and 2. So they have to retreat, they are disorganized, they have to undergo morale check, they passed. Now, Russians doesn't have to undergo morale check, only if they want to pursue, they doesn't want to. And now let's check for losses. Now Russian losses, it was 2 and 8, 1 loss. And now French losses, 7 in 10, this is 2. So this unit along with commander is eliminated. Well, it was definitely a suicidal attack. Now here. This infantry fires here. First this bonnet, they fire twice with -2, 7. Bonnet has 6, and this is 1 hit. Oh, white. Now the second shot, this is a miss, and now this one, they have a strength of 6 and -2, it's 7, this is 1 hit, and the second shot, sorry, it was just one shot, so 2, and roll for the Russian commander, he's fine. Now Russians are firing here, they have black star, so they are firing once, and I think this is a hit. Let me check. They are Zapolski, so yeah, they have 10 points, so this is a hit. And now let's calculate the strength. This is 4, and this is no, this is 5 and this is 6, so this is 11. 11 versus 10, it will be 1 to 1. We have +1 because of the commander, -2 because of the woods, so it's -1 for the French units, and 6, so it's 5. All units have to undergo morale checks. Russians, 11. They have -2 because of the commander, so but even so they have 8. So they failed, they are disorganized, and now French units. Here they passed, the other one they passed. So no disorganization for French units, and now losses after combat. French had 11, so it's 11-12, -2 because of the woods, so it will be 7-8, and 9, two losses for Russians. And Russians had 10, +2 because of the woods, 13-15, and 5, 2 losses for French units as well. So along with this one, it will be 3. So these are all French attacks. Yes, that's all. And now I made one important mistake. I should correct myself now. This unit and that unit weren't able to drive enemy away with their charge. And when such situation occurs, a cavalry unit must retreat 1 hex back. So that's I think that's pretty logical, but I forgot about it there, so now it is correct. So that was all for the French forces. Now Russians. Now, what Russians might want to do? I am defending Gołymin here, that's pretty clear, and this unit wants to move there. Wait a moment, one more thing. These Cossacks will join their pals here, and this infantry will go here. So I'm not going to countercharge on them with these units because they are too weak. And or maybe, wait a moment, they were here, they moved there, so now this cavalry might actually countercharge. So yes, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so Russians are firing at them. They have 2 stars, 9. Popardov has a strength of 9, so this is 9. T -1 for French unit, so 1 loss and morale check. They passed, and now the second shot, 6, 1 loss. Ooh, that was quite painful. So French unit lost 2 points, and now Milwa has... Oh, they only had 1 point. So they are eliminated by the rifle fire. There was also a commander here, so let's make a roll for him. He is wounded. And now Russians luckily enter this village. Okay, well, that was not a very good idea. And here these Russians, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or no, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They are trying to run away here into this village. And this group, they successfully repulsed French attack here. 1, 2, 3. Because they are out of command, so they have their movement allowance reduced by 1. So that would be all when it comes to Russians. They are not attacking anywhere, because this unit is in the woods, this unit is in the building, so they are not forced to attack. So that would be all when it comes to this turn, and we are moving into next turn, which is going to be the first night turn. Let's start with the initiative roll. France, Russians. Oh. So Russians won initiative now. Interesting. Next, let's check for the command. They are in command now. And as for French units, they are in command, but they are not. They are all in command. They are not. So need to mark them as out of command. So that's all. Now reorganization. French units. This cavalry, they are back to normal. They are fine. They are, but they are out of range. Well, even so, they made it. Now they 9. There is the friendly commander on the adjacent hex, so they would have there would be 8, so they are fine. And here they cannot because they are adjacent to enemy. Now Russians, they cannot because of the enemy on the adjacent hex. They can. This is only a commander, he is not a unit. So 7, they are back to normal. All the other Russian units here are fine. This artillery is going to be reorganized. They can. And that's all when it comes to the reorganization, and we are going to Russians. What Russians are going to do? They are taking this village together. They are out of command, but they are going to defend this hex. And I believe that's all. I mean, oh, this stuck. 1, 2, 3. They are moving like that. And that's all when it comes to Russians. They are not making... wait, sorry, one more thing. It is a night, so they have their movement halved, and also halved again, and -1 because of the out of command. So it will be, they will have 4, -1 because of the out of command is 3, and halved due to the night, so they have only 1 movement point. So they can only change their facing, not else. Now, French forces are moving, and their artillery here is firing onto this village. This is a miss. And now French movement. We have to remember that French units have their movement allowance reduced by half too due to the night. So they have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Commander goes onto their hex. One, 2, 1, 2, and now they are leaving square by 1 and 2. They are changing their facing, and now they are also leaving their square. Now this heavy cavalry, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2.5. I think that's all. Yes, that's all. So the only thing I need to do with French units is to attack here. Okay, there is only one combat to resolve here. And now I have 3 French brigades attacking Russians now, so it will be hard for Russians. First, Bonnet, he fires twice with a strength of 4 and -2 modifier. 6, it is a miss, and 3, this is a miss. Now Bonnet, 4 and -2. Miss and miss, and now Lochette, 8 with the -1. Oh, this is a hit, so it is 9 with 8. This is T -1, so Russians suffer 1 loss, and we need to make a morale check for them. Ooh, they failed, and because they failed morale check after being disorganized, they are eliminated. Their commander is here, but first of all I need to make a roll for him after a rifle combat. He survives, but since French units are taking this hex after enemy being eliminated, then this commander is eliminated too. So that would be all when it comes to the French combat phase, and this is the end of the turn 10, which was actually turn 5. So let's go to the next turn, initiative check. For French, 5 for Russians, 3. +1 because they had initiative in the previous turn, so they have 4, French 5, so French units are first to go. Next, command ship. They are not in command because this commander is wounded, so he has only 1 hex range. They are all in command, they are all in command, and they are all in command. Russians, they are not in command, they are all in command. So that's all. Now reorganization. Do I have anyone to reorganize? Yes, him. 7, so this brigade is back to normal. And anyone else? They are all fine. They are fine. No, everyone else is reorganized. So that's all. Now we are going into the French artillery fire. Well, I haven't anyone to fire with these cannons on. So that's all. And now we have a French movement phase. And remember, this is a night, so we have our movement limited by half. So it's half, 1, half, 1, and 2, or maybe not. Let them remain here. 1, 1 and half, 1 and half, sorry, half, 1, 1 and half, 1, 2, 3, 4. That will be all here. And now one and 1. Now this cavalry will block this part, and my heavy cavalry is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's all. Oh, them. 1, 2, 3, and that's all. They have only 6 because they are out of command. So that's all when it comes to the French movement phase, and now we have French combat phase. We are attacking here, and now these 2 French units are firing. First, Lapis, 5. This is 9. In the column of 5, this is T -1, so 1 loss for Russians. And the morale check, they failed. And the second shot, 11. This is 2 losses and morale check. They passed. Now this one, Amay, he also has 5. So first shot, 8. This is 1 hit. And the second shot, this is a miss. And now Russians are firing back. This is Schneider, and Schneider has 8, so he fires here, and +1, -1 because up the hill, and this is 9. Morale check and -1, so French unit suffers 1 loss. Check for the commander, he's fine, and morale check, they are fine. So now we can resolve our combat. They both have 5, so they have 10, and now we have to halve our attack strength because this is a knight. So we have 5. 5 versus Schneider had 8, but now he has only 4 because of the rifle combat, so it is 1-1. And so it is 1-1, no modifiers, -1, +1 because of the French commander modifier. So it's +1 and 7. Amazing. It is 1T and T. Russian unit has to undergo morale check. They passed, and they have to retreat 1 hex. So they are retreating here. And French units have to undergo morale checks. Them, they passed because of the commander, and now they passed. So they are not performing pursuit. They are staying where they are. And now let's check for losses. French had 5, so it's 5-6. And 4, no losses for Russians. Russians had 4 and 8, 1 loss for French units. So that would be all when it comes to the French combat phase. And one important thing about this turn. In this turn, French artillery should arrive. And this thing is quite historically inaccurate, because no French artillery was involved in this battle, because it was all left back because of the muddy roads. So I would recommend you to not use French artillery in this scenario, because it makes things more accurate. Only horse artillery, this one, can be used because horse artillery was fast enough to join the battle. All the other artillery units weren't able to do so. So that's all for French units, and now Russians. Russians are simply defending this small town. They are surrounded. They are also going to defend this village, but this unit is something else. They will try to make their way into Gołymin. So I am moving here. And this French cavalry is not eager to fight them, or it is. Perimont, let me check how strong they are. Oh, they have only 2 points left. So, no, they are going to back, because cavalry can move away when infantry approaches it. So that's all, because they cannot move any further, because this is a knight, so they have their movement halved, and you have to spend 2 movement points to move into the wood hexes. So that's all, and this concludes this turn as well. So we are moving into the next turn. Let's roll for initiative. French, Russians. So France has initiative. Now, command ship. They are all in command. They are all in command. They are not. They are. They are not. And Russians, well, they are. They are not. They are not. Reorganization. They can try to reorganize themselves. They did. And that's all. As for French units, I believe all the French units are reorganized. Yeah. So that's all. Now, French artillery. This artillery fires onto this hex. Oh, I believe they scored a hit. It is -2 because of the town, and -1 because of the knight. So it is actually 8. Uh-oh. And this changes the situation. This is horse artillery of the French army, so it has a strength of 2 on the range of 2 hexes. And the target is Poparov. It has a strength of 9, so +1. So yes, we scored 1 hit on Poparov. they lost 1 point. Okay, so now French units can move. 1, 2, and 1, 2. This division is going to attack here. And this division one moves here. They don't feel too strong to attack that hex, actually. Now 1, 2, 1, and they are moving like that to stop these Russians. Now my heavy cavalry prepares to attack this this village. And I think that's all I can do. So let's go and attack. I'm attacking with these two brigades, so they are both firing on the Russians. First this brigade, 6, it is a miss, and this one, 7, this is a miss, because they both have -2 due to the town. And now this Russian unit fires at them twice, because it has white star, miss, and wow, epic hit, 12, and they have a strength of 8. This is -3 and T. So this unit suffers 3 points loss and morale check. They passed, and their commander, he's fine. So now French brigades are attacking. Let me check their strength. This is 5 and 8. So they have 13, and because of the knight they have their strength halved to 6. So this is 6 versus 8. So this is 1 to 2. We have +1 because of the commander, and +2, so it's 3 because we are attacking from the rear. So it is +3 and -2 because of the town. So it's +1 for French and 6. Fantastic. They had a luck because 6 means 1T. So Russians have to retreat 1 hex, and well, they cannot. Why? I mean, they only can retreat here, and retreating in the enemy zone of control means they have to suffer 1 additional loss for each hex. Okay, and now they have to undergo morale check. They failed. And now French units. This one, they are fine. This one, they are fine. So they are taking this hex. And now let's calculate losses. French units had a strength of 6, so 5, 6, and -2 because of the town. This is 1, 2. No losses for Russians. Russians had 8 +2. 3 losses for French units. So they had 3, and they will have also 3. That's serious. But at last, French army made into the town. So that's all for French attacks. Alright, now Russians. Well, I need to drive them away of this town, otherwise it will be a problem. And what I'm going to do, I will change my facing like that and move my artillery here. As for Gołymin, oh well, I will change their facing and will try to attack with these two infantry units only. These Cossacks here are not going to be involved. So they are firing twice, miss and miss, and now they are firing once, miss, and French unit fires at them 8, and they have a strength of 5, so 1 miss. This Russian unit suffers 1 loss. And now let's calculate the strength. They have 6, so this is 3, and they have 4, so this is 2. So they have total of 5 versus 5. So it will be 1 to 1, but -2 due to the town, and well, let's see, 4. Okay. No one retreats, no one pursues, but all the units have to undergo morale checks. So French unit 8, they passed, and now Russians, them, oh my, 9, they failed, and since they are already disorganized, they are eliminated. And now Schneider, they passed. Now losses after combat. Russians had 6 and -2, it's 1, 2, no losses. French unit had 5 and +2, 8, 2 losses. So Schneider suffers 2 losses. Okay, that wasn't a very successful counterattack. And this ends this turn. We are going into the next turn, and now let's roll for the initiative. French, Russians, French army keeps initiative. Now let's check for command. They are back under command, and that's all. Reorganization, I believe all the units are fine. So, at French artillery fire, nothing. Now, French movement. I think this brigade just enters this hex. They will hold this hex, that's all. And this cavalry will try to attack this village, and now Russian artillery here fires at them. Oh, I believe they scored a hit. Let me check. This is -1 because of the knight, and -1 because our target is cavalry which is moving. So it was 9, so it will be 7 instead. And Russian cavalry has 1, so no, this is a miss. They are moving here. And that would be all. I'm not going to move any more actions with French units, and I am not attacking here because units in the buildings have no zone of control, so they don't have to attack enemy units on the adjacent hexes. And now this French heavy cavalry attacks this village. So I have 6, 6 and 6 and 5, so it's 17, so it will be strength of 8 versus 1 and 5. So 8 versus 5, it will be 1 to 1, and now -1 because of the village, +1 because of the commander. So it is 1 to 1, and modifiers are nullifying each other. So 5. This is the only morale checks for French units. 7, 6 and 9, they are disorganized. And for Russians, artillery passed, cavalry passed. So they are fine. And now losses. Now French unit had 8 and -1 because of the village, so it's 5, 6 and 6, 1 loss for Russians. And Russians had 5 + 1, so it will be 7, 8 and 6, 1 loss for French units. So that would be all when it comes to the French attacks. And now we are back to Russians. What Russians are going to do? This Russian artillery here is firing at this infantry. Oh, -1 because of the knight, but still it's 8 with artillery of the strength of 3 and 2 hexes range. This is morale check for French unit. This is a pass, so nothing. I have to roll for French commander, he's fine. And that's all. And that would be all. I'm not going to make any attacks with these Russian units and these Russian units. So, the last turn ahead. Let's make initiative roll for French, Russians. So Russians won initiative this time. As for command, I think nothing changes. Yes, everyone is in command, and those who weren't in command are still out of command. Now we have to check for reorganization. They cannot be reorganized because they are adjacent to the enemy. So that's all. And now we are starting with Russians. And I'm not going to do anything with Russians. They are going to keep the hexes they control. That's fine for them. And now French units. This cavalry will try to attack this hex again, hoping they will have more luck this time. And that's all. So all I need to do is to make this attack. So it's 3, 6 and 7 versus 1 and 3. So it's 7 versus 4, so it will be 1 to half and 1, so it will be +1 for French, +2 because of the commander, and -1 because of the village. So it's +1 for French units, and 7, they made it! So Russians have to retreat. And now let's make a roll for disorganization for French units. Them, they are fine. Them, they are disorganized. Oh my! And they are fine. And due to this fact, they can take that hex, eliminate this Russian cavalry, and whew. Let's roll for losses. French losses 6 with 1 loss, and Russian losses 6, no losses. Okay, so this concludes this scenario, and now I can check for the victory points. As for French units, they control 1, 2 and 3 and 4, so they won, because Russian units control only these 2 hexes. If Russians would be able to hold this hex for 1 turn longer, they will be victorious. I mean, there will be draw. So you can see that despite French advantage in numbers, that then Russians still have a chance to win this battle. So that would be all for today. Thank you for watching and see you again.